Mr. Jackson,
Yes.
how you doing? Jeff Butler, CIG.
Yeah. How you doing?
Good. Yourself? May I have a seat?
Please.
Okay. I know we spoke on the phone the other day. Have you heard anything about CIG? Have you?
No, I can't say I have.
Okay. We're a California-based company. We've been in business about 27 years. Predominant at that time has been in the auto finance industry. We decided a couple of years ago to expand, and we've added some other states out west and progressively made our way east. So now we're here in Florida and we're doing some business. And your name came up by another dealer friend of mine and said thought it was a good opportunity for me to come and pitch the program. I took a look at your inventory before I walked in, and based on the cars you have in stock, and kind of looking at some of the numbers and things like that, I think it's a dealership combined with what we do. I think we could help you put another deal or two together, and hopefully that works for you. And I think it definitely would work for us. And just kind of want to go through a little more in detail about what we do and see if there's an interest on both sides.
Okay, yeah, I'd love to hear what you've got to say. I got to tell you, I got a stack right here.
No, I hear you.
Hanging red to them of dealer agreements. Seems like 2 years ago I couldn't get a lender to come by here, and now I can't go a week without one.
No, believe me, I understand. I mean, a lot of what's going on right now in the market and the business, it's crazy. I mean, I've been in this business since 1996 when I got out of the Navy, and my father owned a finance company and was an independent used car dealer. So it's kind of
Spent
how.
some time in the Navy too. So
Okay.
I know that
Okay.
situation.
Good. Okay. Definitely. I mean, I enjoyed my time in the Navy. Rode some submarines and seen some crazy stuff. I don't know what part of what you did in the Navy.
Up in Norfolk, Virginia area.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you were above surface or below
Yeah.
surface?
Seeing the sun, not the bottom.
Gotcha. Okay. Some interesting jokes about us submariners out there in the Navy. But like I said, I loved it. I've seen some things and got to experience some things I never would have gotten a chance to experience. So I definitely look back on that time fondly. But
How many years were you?
just 4. Did
Okay.
4 years. I started off in college, and things didn't go my way. I went to school on a football scholarship, and like any kid at that age, you're thinking you're going pro and you're going to play in the NFL and make millions of dollars. And
All have the dream. don't
yeah,
they?
so things didn't go my way, and I decided to leave school early, join the Navy, got married, and joined the Navy, and I haven't looked back.
Good.
So,
Good.
but like I said, I've been in this business since '96, and it's crazy. I've seen the great times and I've seen the low times, and I don't think anyone has seen them as low as they were. Like you said a couple of years ago. It was tough. It was tough.
Yeah. And like I said, now I just can't believe how many subprime lenders want to come talk to Mr. Independent now, do business with me. And I got to tell you, Jeff, I get most of my deals done. There's somebody out there that'll buy all this stuff right now. Buying it's crazy.
Mr. Jackson, you're not going to hear me disagree with you.
Call me Sam.
Okay, no problem, Sam. Like the actor?
I'm
sure you get that
all
once
the
or
time.
twice a day.
Yeah, he's my brother. He's my older brother.
I got you. No, I mean, we had that conversation internally at the company. Like I said, CIG, I didn't mention it before, but it stands for Capital Incentive Group. And, we're wholly owned by an individual party, so there's no, obviously, like any company, we have a board of directors, but at the end of the day, we answer to one person. It's a family-run business. Our owner's daughter works for the company, his son works for the company. So
Nice, you don't see a lot of that anymore.
no, it's different, and one of the reasons why I like working for them, and I made the decision because, when things went crazy at the end of '07 into '08, I actually was working for a finance company, and it was acquired by another company. And like any time you're in that situation, the one that gets acquired usually gets let go.
Oh, yeah.
And they keep their own people. That's kind of what happened. I don't have any ill will towards the company. They're still around and things like that. It's just the way it goes.
Worked at 3 franchises before I got here.
Okay.
Every one of them, when they got taken over, the
Right.
new party come in, had a place for me. I just didn't know it was out the door.
So you've been there. So I actually went back to retail. I started on the retail side, then made the switch.
Okay, so you've done it.
So I've been on both sides of it. And like I said, I mentioned to you, I started with my father-in-law who, had a finance company and was an independent car dealer as well. And, back then, like you're saying, you couldn't get financing at an independent. They didn't give you the time of day, the banks and things like that, unless you were a real big guy or you did banking with them, and you really found the right person and he allowed you to kind of come in, you couldn't do it. And he used that and developed a business from it. So I've been on both sides of it, but I went back to retail, and it wasn't until Some of the guys that worked at CIG, that work at CIG, and our chief operating officer, one of the persons that sits on the board, I worked for at a previous company. So
Okay.
when they called and said, we're looking to move east, are you interested, and things like that, I made the decision to do it. And so it's different and starting out, from scratch, trying to build the territory and all the things that go with that. It's hard work, but
Okay. Well, I gotta tell you, Jeff, I get reps come in and want to show me the rate sheet and all. Westlake,
right,
Exeter,
okay.
one I've never heard of. Santander. What
Okay.
makes you guys different? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot,
No,
but
no,
this is
no.
just another one to add to the pile.
No, absolutely, and I hope at the end of our discussion, and if you notice, I didn't bring out a rate sheet, I didn't slap a rate sheet and just start, dumping a bunch of rates and terms and things that on you. And if you want to see it, we'll get to that point. But I like to use it, I have a conversation and talk about it, because here's what makes us different, I think, anyway, and what I've seen the time I've been here. I told you and mentioned to you that, we have an owner, his name is Greg. All those companies you just mentioned are bigger companies than we are. They do more business and things like that, and that's fine, there's a place for it. And I'm one of those reps where I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, I want you to do all your business with me, put all your eggs in my basket, I'm gonna take you to the promised land and make you more money than anybody's ever made you before. That's not what I'm here to tell you, Sam. What I'm here to tell you is that we do business kind of the old-fashioned way. So there's no black box, there's no computer model, there's no, statistics guru on the other end of it saying this is gonna work and this is not gonna work, and let the system do everything.
Right.
Okay, so
I'm gonna get to talk to somebody?
you're actually gonna get a
Wow.
buyer.
And I have to hit 3 buttons to get to them?
Nope,
All right.
So I'm gonna be the personal point of contact out here in the field, so, you'll have my
You're
cell
local,
phone.
I can.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. My cell phone, much to the chagrin of my wife, my cell phone is on all the time. Saturday, Sundays we do go to church, but after that, if you needed to get a hold of me, if you left me a message earlier in the day, I don't know exactly your hours on the weekends and things like that, but if I got a message.
We're
from you-
Saturday, come Sunday,
Okay,
we're not here.
so we got no problems there. But anytime on a Saturday, I work some Saturdays, I'll be out in the field, I'll hit some stores, so it'll be a Saturday or two every now and
Okay,
again.
that's good.
You'll see me pop in and say, is there anything I can help you with, things like that. So I'm the local guy.
Okay.
But then you're gonna get a buyer assigned to you. Our buyer here locally, his name is John Blenner. I actually hired him at a previous company we both worked at.
I think I've heard of John. I think I might have done some deals with him.
Well,
in the past.
it depends on who you're doing business with or how far you go back. Most recently, he worked at Ally Financial as a buyer. He was on their subprime side.
I wasn't there.
And then there was the company he and I both worked at where I hired him was Long Beach Acceptance.
Used to do some business with Long
Okay,
Beach.
so yeah.
That's where I know that name.
Okay, yeah, no, so, he understands the market, he's bought it. He actually lives over in Port Charlotte on the West Coast.
Okay, so he's here.
Yeah, he's here in Florida, so
Okay.
the time is not an issue. What's gonna happen is he'll be your local buyer. So he starts 8:30 or so every morning, and he works a full day like anyone else, like your normal people you're doing business with. And then at the end of that shift, when he signs off, we still have buyers out in California.
Ah,
So-
so the time deal.
Correct, so we're 3 hours
I like
behind.
that. I like that.
So you actually theoretically can get an answer. We have people that work till 6 o'clock or so each night. So you theoretically can get an answer up until 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
A person though, I can
Yes.
talk to.
Yes.
I'm just not into the computers. And you said something about old fashioned talking to
Mhm.
people. That's how I like to do business.
That's our approach.
Okay.
We're very proactive. You're going to talk to your buyer. You're going to talk to me. When you send over an application, John, and the deal, John's looking at it and he's looking at it and he's saying, there's some meat on this bone. There's a way to put this deal together. Instead of just spitting you out a call through Dealer Tracker Route 1. There's nothing wrong with Dealer Tracker Route 1, but in my opinion, you and I talking, I think that's ruined the business to some
I'm the old
degree.
school. I like to negotiate.
Right.
I like to work. I like to arm wrestle on the phone and get some deals
So,
done.
No, I hear you.
A little
So
give and a lot of take.
what'll happen is John will pick up the phone, obviously within reason. If it's a Monday and we're crushed with applications, he'll usually communicate to me and then I'll be that point person. He gave you this, he's willing to do this, he's gave you this term, does that work for you? And then you and I will horse trade back and forth and you'll say, okay, yeah, I did 48, but I need 51 or 52 months instead of 48, or he gave me 13 grand, I need 13.5, or the fee, that's a part of what we do.
Okay.
There's a lot of negotiation. What I like to tell dealers and the way I like to say it is, the example I use that makes it real world in my opinion, because I told you, I've been on the retail side, is, I walked in, you had that blue Honda Accord sitting out there.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's say you just took that car and You did what you needed to do, through your recon process. You had to touch up a bumper or something like that, and you put a few
You
hundred
saw,
bucks.
I had to.
No, it was done a little better than that.
Yeah,
I didn't look that
checking.
close. I didn't look that close, but what'll happen is you do what you normally do. Okay? Yeah, like I said, I seen the cars when I walked in. Looks like you do a pretty good job of trying to take care of your inventory. So you're going to put in wherever you put in it, and you want to make money. We're in a profit business. I tell my people all the time, profit's not a four-letter word. Okay? You want to make money. We want you to make money. But obviously, we wanted to do it within reason, and our loans are structured that way. But what happens is, John's going to tell you, hey, look, this is what I can do. We're going to talk about it. And then you're going to say, hey, look, I just took this car in. I had to do this, this, and that. I need to make this and that. And he will work it out. That's a fresh piece. But let's say 60 days down the road, that car is still sitting here. Now you just want to move it because you got 60 days into it. Well, let's say we give you a call, and you say, okay, look, I've marked it down because I need to move this. So I can't swallow the $795, $895 fee that we're looking to charge. But you also gave me 16.25%, and I've already talked to the customer, and the customer's understanding their credit situation, and they're looking to pay, they understand they're going to have to pay a little bit more. Okay. So if you can close the rate a little higher than maybe what we were going to do, you have that conversation with John or I, and we talk about it. So instead of buying at 16.25, you say, hey, look, I got the customer closed at 19.95. So let's say we could do that.
That's what I like.
But you drop the fee to help me move this unit. That's one scenario. Then obviously there's the other scenario where the customer comes in, they don't really negotiate you real hard on the price, and they take what you advertise. You're sitting on a nice deal, and now you got room. But the customer's very rate conscious. So he says, hey, I'm not paying $19.95, and that's how it works for us. You tell us, hey, look, customer won't swallow this rate, but if you were going to charge me $7.95, what if I do $8.95 or $9.95? Can you help me on the rate? So we'll horse trade both sides of it, the months, the term, everything, to make the deal work. And that's kind of how we do business. And when I say old school, that's what I mean, is that all of the parts of the deal are moving, and we're okay with moving them within reason. I'm not going to say and tell you we're going to do 8-point rate drops and give you another 24 months, but within reason, we'll work the deal to help you capture.
All right, Jeff. You sat on this side of the desk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm going to ask you. I make my money back in.
Okay.
I got to sell your products?
No.
Okay.
You don't
How
sell.
am I going to make money?
You don't sell your products. What we do is that we'll allow you to mark the rate up, depending on the tier of the deal, the quality of the customer, up to a point, point and a half, depending on where it's it terms or falls into one of our programs. We will let you sell Gap. We will let you sell service contract. But we're, like you and I both know, talking to you real, we're an all-in lender. So
okay.
We're line 6 here in Florida on the contract. So when the call comes over and John tells you, I'm okay with doing 18.5, everything you want to do has to fit into that 18.5.
Okay, all right. At least as long as I know where I got. But you're not going to cut me on the back end all the time now.
No, I mean, and we'll structure the deal. So again, if the customer's got strong cash down and the LTV is nice, and you're trying to sell them a service contract, I don't have a problem with it. The way we look at it, the service contract benefits both of us, because your customer's not going to come back to you with mechanical issues, and your customer's not going to stop. Our customer at that point is now not going to stop paying because the car doesn't work. So we don't have an issue with service contracts. Gap obviously is beneficial for us, should something happen to the car. So we're not one of those lenders that's saying you got to sell our products, or we don't allow you to sell them at all, because we understand the benefits of those two products. Now, anything you else may do, PermaPlate or some of these other products, we're fine with them, but again, it has to be in all that advance. So whatever you can put in there that works for you, we're okay with that. Depending, again, real talk, depending on how you get paid, let John know that. So if the call needs to say, okay, 14,000 plus service contract and Gap, 16,000 out the door, let him know. He'll write it up and send you the call that way.
Okay. Another question I just thought of, Jeff. You mentioned about the service contract, car breaks down, people don't pay. Is there any kind of recourse or anything in your deal agreement?
We do, as an independent dealership, we do have a
So
first
this
payment.
is full? Oh, I'm sorry.
First payment.
Just first payment?
First payment,
Okay.
correct.
So as soon as it gets past due, y'all gonna call me and I'm supposed to write you a check?
Correct. Well, it doesn't work that way. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, that's what it is. But what happens for us, and again, you're going to take me on face value on this because we just met, you don't know me, You know, you don't know our company, I'm in here talking to you for the first time. What happens in a normal, and I've dealt with a few of them so far, but what happens in a normal scenario is I get notified by the company that there's an issue. And we're gonna know that obviously 10, 11 days out in a normal situation. Obviously, if there's an issue with the customer calls us and says, hey, I got an issue, we're gonna know about those a lot sooner. But typically, customers do, let's say on the 10th, you know, there's a grace period built into the law contract. We're gonna be making those calls to figure out, hey, where's the payment, where's the payment, where's the payment? Typically what happens is, you know, it's no contact. They've moved, you know, a location, the cell number's no good anymore, the job has changed, and we just can't get a hold of them. So what happens is that I get notified by our collection people. I would pick up the phone and call you and say, hey, Mr. Jones, we can't get a hold of him. Maybe your salesman knows him, somebody can run by the house, knock on the door, and just let him know. Give us a number, call us so we can work it out. Because maybe there is no issue, we just gotta be able to talk to them. So we'll get you involved at that point. That's the best case scenario because we just can't get a hold of them. You help us contact them, customer pays, no harm, no foul, we all move on. But when there is an issue and the customer's adamant about they're not gonna pay or they just don't pay, again, you're gonna know about it during that same time frame. We're gonna take that time frame to try and figure out whatever the issue is, come to a resolution that keeps the customer happy, and then he makes the payment and we move on. In the scenarios where that doesn't work, again, you've known about it for a week, 10 days or so, and we've tried to work it out, and then you and I would be having discussions about what you wanna do. At that point, to keep your costs down, because we don't just go pop the car and then say, hey, send me a check. We're gonna say, do you wanna go get the car, you wanna have the customer bring you the car, or do you want us to go get it? So that way we don't have to charge you what it would cost us to go, because obviously we have to repo it, we have to pay the agent to go get it and all the costs and stuff associated.
You guys have a lot of these?
No, in my area, I've been here now, you know, just under a year, and I've dealt with 4 or 5 in a year.
Okay.
I mean, no, 4 or 5 that we actually had to get checks written. There's been more than that I'm dealing with, but like I told you, we got a hold of the customer, you know, Sammy the salesman runs out to the house and says, Mr. Jones, the bank called, they're trying to reach you, but they said you changed numbers and the number's no good. Okay. Oh, you know what, you're right, I did. I changed from T-Mobile to AT&T and they changed my number. I'll call them tomorrow.
I can't be doing recourse, I just, you know, I can't.
No, I hear you, but
sell cars.
I see you got some of these golf balls over here, and I know UAC has a first payment recourse, so I know, you know.
Rep came by and dropped those off a little while ago.
But you do business with UAC?
Try not to. They're not my preferred lender.
I got you.
But every now and then, I find something that, you know, fits their niche. So
I got you.
Do a little bit.
I got you. You play those pinnacles, or I mean, you're a golfer? You much of a golfer?
I play golf. I got to tell you, I'll take anything that's free.
Okay.
Pinnacle's not my thing. I got a 10-year-old son. They'll probably be in his bag by tonight.
No,
little kind of a hard ball for me.
Yeah,
no, too rough for me.
I play a little golf. I mean, I play and I love the game. I'm really passionate about, you know, trying to be better, but it's been a work in progress. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, that's
but
good.
That's kind of how. But just to let you know, obviously we're not at that point yet. But CIG does have a golf ball, and I'll just say it's a step or two above Pinnacle.
All right, all right. Does it have the word Titleist on it?
They are Titleist. They are
Does it have anything that says Pro on it?
Yeah.
Okay, then does it end with a V1?
Yeah.
All righty, much better. Like I said, I
There's
appreciate.
no X on it. I don't know which one you play.
No.
I don't
appreciate anything free. All right, Jeff. I really like, you know, the negotiation part. That's a hot button to me. That's good. First payment default scares me a little bit, but whatever. Like I told you, bud, I got lots of people want to do business. I guess I'm trying to find out what your niche is. What can I do? Because, you know, one thing I try to do is if I have a lender, I want to give them some business. I just don't want to sign up and not be to give you something. I mean, I got to figure out where I fit in. And like I said, I don't need to go all through the ratio. I just need to know.
I'll give you a typical.
Something that, like, what's a typical CIG deal?
Right, that's what I was going to say. All right, we have a minimum beacon of 480. Anything below 480, the computer will spit out. Not to say we wouldn't do that, but we had to establish a line of demarcation somewhere. Now, in a scenario under 480, there has to be some positive car credit, but again, like I said, for the most part, we're not going to see those. So that would be something as you get used to what we do and, you know, how far we'll go and things like that, put in a deal, that would be a deal where you pick up the phone and say, hey, the computer turned this down, but I know you guys would be interested in it. So that's a different scenario. 480 is our minimum. Our typical customer is around a 560 credit score. Our average loan is about 13.5. So
Okay.
as I walk in, you're in our sweet spot.
Okay.
The vast majority of your inventory is right in that range where we like to be. Right around 50, 51 months is our average term. So for the customer, that we're looking for, that we average, that payment is affordable. It's typically a hardworking person or couple or whatever the case may be, that are just looking for a quality used car, that they need some transportation, things like that. So that's kind of what our average customer looks like. It's a 560 credit score, 50 months or so, and 13.5. But like I said, I really can't get into different profiles because everything is up for discussion. So to give you an example, here in Florida, obviously we were hit hard with the mortgage issues. So we look at the mortgages, but if we look and see, hey, for the most part, these people get to the finish line on what they're doing, but they've had some issues with the mortgages. We take into the account the last several years and how that has played in. We understand the modification piece and things like that. So some of that stuff is a case-by-case basis, but for the most part, we look at all of that. We look at the down payment, the downstroke, how much, what kind of equity, all of that stuff plays a part.
Okay.
So there's not really one scenario that I can tell you, hey, this is our customer. Previous car credit is huge with us, and they have to have gotten to the finish line. We're not looking for 60 payments by 60 payments every month agreed, and that makes a CIG deal. But if there's some,
I got some people that take care of that.
But I'm saying, if there's some bumps and bruises along that 60 months, we're okay with that. But previous car credit for how our system looks at a deal, because we don't have a black box like I mentioned to you, but we do have an internal scoring model that just buckets the deal. What I mean by that is, and again, I'm not going to get into each tier and things like that, but you can see we do have 5 tiers.
Okay.
So when I say internally, all the people you mentioned obviously have some type of scoring model, and it's just a necessary evil in the business at this point. But what happens is the deal comes in based on all the merits of the deal. How much the payment's going to be, how long the loan is going to be, how much down payment the customer has, the LTV. All those things play a part, and it buckets the deal where it needs to be. But what I mean, like I told you, is that let's say we do a silver deal, silver tier, and you can see here our rate on this term is 17, just over 17%. But you got the customer closed at 17%. You have that conversation with John. John buys it at 16.5. You make a little, we capture the deal, things like that. So if we need to move around to do what needs to be done, we have the power and the capability, and John's empowered to do that. You can see here our fees. We range from a low of 195, and then it says 10 to 20%. The biggest you're ever going to see is about 10%. So on a $13,000 deal, like I mentioned, you're talking about our worst case scenario is $1,300 bucks.
Okay.
Westlake, obviously, much higher than that.
I just can't put
No,
the deals together.
I'm with you.
I don't mind sharing a little bit.
Santander can get crazy too if you get into what used to be that old drive program. Their fees can get up there too. Now, I will tell you that we don't buy as deep as them,
Okay.
but
And that's what I was going to ask you. Like, who would you say you're close to? Are you Westlake? You buy just like Westlake?
we're not like Westlake. I would
Okay.
tell you we're like Exeter. There's a lot of crossover, with AmeriCredit, some of those kind of companies. But again, where they're going to sit here and in order to be a good dealer, you got to be doing a bunch of business with them. A good dealer for us, because we are a smaller company, if I can get 1 or 2 contracts consistently from you, I'd be happy.
Okay.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you I need to have 10 to make it work or 15 to make it work. That's not who we are. We're a niche used car. 98% of what we do is used cars. So we're a used car lender. Like I mentioned, $13,000 on average, and that's what we're looking to do. Some of those guys, don't get me wrong, they'll take the business. They'll do as many deals as they can, but you're not going to get the play when you pick up the phone with some of those guys and say, hey, look, I need help on this, or work with me on this, because you're doing 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. And they're so much bigger, where if you're doing those 3 or 4 with me, I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're going to be our biggest dealer, but those 3 or 4 matter. So when you pick up the phone and John can look at the numbers and say, hey, Sam does 3 or 4 consistently, and now you're in a situation where you need a little help, we're gonna be okay with that, because for 3 or 4 for us is a great deal. 1 or 2 solid, 3 or 4 great, and we're just looking to, put a couple deals together. And I haven't even talked about funding.
See, you read my mind. You must have saw the dollars hit me. That's all good. I got to get paid.
The way I explain it to people, because everybody's always gonna come in here and tell you, funding is phenomenal, we pay you right away, and as soon as you send the contract, we send the money, and I've heard them all. I've sat on that side, I've been on this side, and I've heard all the stories. The way I explain it to dealers is, on average, when you factor in the deals that do have issues, because we can't get a job, on the phone at will, so it takes some time on occasion to get somebody on the phone to verify a job, to verify insurance, because we do verifications.
And where's your funding done at?
It's done in California.
Okay.
Everything's done out of California, so we have that one office in California, and then obviously the reps, like me, we're dispersed throughout the country. So everything would go to California. But on average, when you send a package and we factor in the deals that don't get funded right away, the deals that do have issues that need to be addressed and worked out, POI approved short, things like that. When you factor in all the issues that you and I both know come up, we still fund every deal that we fund in just over a day in-house. So it's ACH obviously, so you get your money when, depending on your bank's policy on ACHs. We don't hold it, we don't play the game with, waiting, we tell you it's funded, but then wait 24 hours before we press the send button. We don't play any games like that. When we tell you it's funded, it goes into our accounting department that night, they process it, they shoot it out that night. As long as your bank recognizes it, you should see it the next day. So, if we fund a deal on Wednesday, that money should be in your account Thursday morning. So we don't play any games like that, like I said. Funding, you can check around, I don't know who around town that, you talk to or are friendly with. But, if you need it, I could give you a couple places around town that we're doing some business with, and they could talk
about it. I wouldn't mind a little reference list.
Yeah, no problem.
You signed up.
No problem at all. I got a couple guys around town that'll tell you, especially with the funding. It's top-notch, phenomenal. I have dealers tell me all the time, look, if you didn't change anything and you just kept funding the way you do, I'd still send you some deals. And obviously, like anything else, as we kind of get an understanding of how Florida is as a territory and how it performs, we'll tweak and adjust here and there, because that's true of anybody. You want to learn and get better and be able to do the things to compete. So we're in that process now that we're approaching a year with doing business here in Florida, but the funding, I've never had anybody say your funding is an issue.
Okay. Can you leave me the rate sheet?
Mm-hmm.
And you have like a dealer package?
Absolutely.
Dealer agreement?
Have a dealer agreement. Now, your owner, do you know, like anything, like the places you mentioned and being independent, you've been around, you know and understand. Okay. Your owner, does he own his home?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Yeah.
The property here, the dealership.
He owns the property, he owns his home.
Okay. And again, I got to ask because I'm just doing my job. If you know, obviously great, but if you don't, you think he has good credit?
Yeah, no, he pulled his credit the other day when he was in here.
Okay.
He's solid. Now,
just because you're going to see it. I mean,
he's very hands-on.
Okay.
It's not like he comes by here once a month. He's very hands-on.
And the reason why I ask, so that way you understand, you can explain it to him. When you get to the application, there's a spot where it asks for his social and it authorizes us to run credit. Okay. So I would always like to ask up front, because that way I know what I'm dealing with, because I have to do a little write-up. And it's not to say we wouldn't do business if we didn't have those things, but it just makes it a lot easier for it to be reviewed and to go through, because those are really the hot buttons. Homeownership ties into the community, makes them local.
Been here 13 years.
Okay.
And he's not going anywhere.
That was going to be my next question, is how long?
And he's been right here for 13 years.
Okay, no, I did run the Sunbiz, and I looked at the Sunbiz, and I seen
he's been around.
He's been around for a while.
Yeah. All right, good. Good.
So,
financials?
No financials.
He's a little tough on financials.
No, that's what I'm saying. If what you told me is accurate, that his credit is pretty good to good. You mentioned it was 7 something, so it was great. And he owns his home. We don't need anything else. We kind of get into those things when those things don't line up.
Okay.
So unlike some other places, we don't require anything. We don't require it. If you want to provide it and it helps, great. But if it's an issue for him, It's not an issue for us.
Well, he won't be back today or tomorrow. He's at the auction.
Okay,
And then he's taking a day off.
okay,
He's hitting that golf ball too, but he's not hitting a pinnacle. But he'll be back Friday.
okay,
Sit down with him Friday, go over a few of these things with him,
all right.
and look through it, and then we can get back together.
So, you're gonna get with him Friday. If I give you a ring on Monday and find out how the conversation went, if there's something he wants to talk to me about, and then swing by maybe Tuesday and pick it up, does that work?
That'd be fine. We'll
Okay.
talk to him Friday, and we'll see where we go.
Okay, you have my number, you have my
Got your
card. Okay, perfect. Any other questions for me?
You know, I don't at this time. I think I got it. I just need to sit down with him and see where we can go with it.
Perfect. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.